Welcome back, Wolfpack. Tonight we're working on a few things. We're working on the alcohol we've been brewing. I'm going to start with the traditional mead, and we're going to take a gravity reading and see where it's at. Since we haven't been able to watch the airlock, I'm just curious where it's at. So get the lid off of here. Oh, this smells good. Smells like mead. Nothing funny on top. Let's give you guys a look see here real quick. Yeah, everything we've been going to use has been sanitized in Star San. Excellent stuff. Pull this out a sample here. Yeah, 1.034 is what it looks like. Still got a ways to go. Pour that back in there, cap it back off, and set it back to ferment some more. Alright. And up next is the strawberry melomel, which I'm probably going to leave to do its own thing still because it started bubbling again. We're still going to check it, see where it's at. Yeah, everything looks like it's supposed to. That one's even higher. We're looking at 104.6. So we still got a long ways to go. But I want to transfer it into another container and add strawberries to it to enhance the strawberry flavor. So give me just a second. I'm going to sanitize the container and grab the strawberries. Alright, I got my racking buddy, which is just a bucket at my feet here, and my racking cane and tubing, also sanitized in Star San. Put that on here just a little bit so it doesn't get too stuck, and then I'm gonna rough rack it, as I've heard it called, and try to even get the yeast colony at the bottom moved over, because it's obviously not done fermenting. So we're going to give this a good stir here, being careful not to agitate it too much at the top where it could oxygenate. Looks like everything's mixed back up here, and racking. Now we wait. I don't want to make the same mistake I made the first time I moved this and take it off the yeast colony. So that's why I mixed it up, because it's not done. And then when we're done transferring it, we'll determine how many strawberries we get to add. I got a couple pounds of them over here. If I don't use them all, it's okay. I've got other things coming down the pipeline. I'm going to spare you the waiting game. I'll be back as soon as this is done. Alright, so since this is struggling, we're going to add some more yeast nutrient here. I got my spoon almost. didn't sanitize it. I'm going to add about a tablespoon and a half like we have been. And then we're going to take our baster, poor man's wine thief, and give that a stir. And I know you can't see this right in a second. Let's give you all a peep. When they say it's a 1 gallon fermenter, they mean it's a 1 gallon fermenter. So there's no room to add strawberries this week. I think once this is done fermenting, I'm going to have to bottle a little bit of it and then add the strawberries to what's left. So this is being real gloopy and taking me a long time to mix, so give me just a second, I'll be right back. Alrighty, got that mixed up. I'm gonna got a lid on it. I'm gonna put an airlock on it with some sanitizer solution in it. So in just a second, I'll go ahead and fill that up. And then it's going back to ferment. I did not realize it had quite that much gravity left, so hopefully this batch of yeast nutrient will help mix it up. Alright. Just barely poke it in there so it doesn't bubble out. You guys should see this. I don't know if it's nucleating points just making everything foam up already, or if the yeast are getting excited again. But there's a whole ring of bubbles there. So now that's going to go back into the fermentation area for a while longer. And we're going to watch that and see how that works. And we've got one more to check on today. Saved the most interesting for last. It was the wildest fermentation. And it looks like, yeah, it had a little bit of a wild fermentation going on in there. So wild yeast leave a white film. Now you can see that. And in a cider, it can make things sour or even bitter, which can be a good thing. So we're going to take a smell. And I'm going to say right now that actually smells way, way better than the pineapple cider I did. This is actually exciting. It smells so good. Wild yeast isn't going to hurt you. Like I said, it just affects the flavor a little bit. We're going to take a gravity reading and see where we're at. Sanitizing everything in between. And we're going to dip in here below the fruit cap. Oh, this smells so good. And it went dry. How dry? Stop bouncing. 0.990. This is done. This is done. But what I want to do, oh man, I want to rack it off into another fermenter for until this is aged a little bit. It's gone through a conditioning phase in a separate fermenter. So I'll get this one sanitized and be right back with y'all. Alright, now I'm going to rack this into another container, getting it off the fruit, off the yeast cake. And the reason I really want to do this is because I want this to clear up some more. Like a lot more, if I can. But if you holler at our friends across the pond, from what I understand, they say it's supposed to be cloudy. And I'm looking forward to getting a taste of this. I'm going to taste this one today. We're going to see what happens. But while we finish racking, I'm going to let you guys go. I'll be right back. Alright, now that we have that switched over, I have to admit there is a lot of headspace in there. But knowing the yeast I used, it'll probably keep going. So we got a fresh airlock here. And the nice thing about it keeping going is it'll produce its own carbon dioxide blanket to prevent oxidation. I'm going to get our notes and check what the original gravity was, write down what it finished out at, and then figure out our potential ABV. I'll be right back. Alrighty. Since things weren't finished and we were adding fermate O anyway, I brought the bucket back out. But before I continue, let me get back to you on the cider. The cider finished out at 0.990, using up a total of 106 points of gravity, which means it's right around 14%, which is perfect for me. Not too watery, not too nothing like that. I'm going to add a couple of these half tablespoons, so a full tablespoon to this, and we're going to mix it all together. Since it is a 2-gallon batch, give me just a second. I'll grab a whisk and just sanitize it, and I'll be right back. Alright, I gotta say, this is super exciting. This is what happened as soon as I started mixing the nutrient in. Huge lots of degassing, but I guarantee some of that is fresh fermentation. There we go. And I see fresh bubbles floating to the surface in here. This ought to be fun. We'll give it another week or so